we think about, reputation and things that are really out of our control so much. Coming from someone like me who, I would say I have a pretty bad reputation from things I did in the past. I do believe that character matters more than reputation because, things I did in my past, made me change into the person I am today. And my character now is truly who I am. So like there's people who think I'm someone when I'm really not that person because I'll meet new people or I'll talk to new people and they'll tell me like I'm the nicest person they've ever met or I'm this and that, right? Just because I changed my character because I knew at one point in my life I wasn't a man. I wasn't, who I said I was. I wasn't, you know, all this. I was a terrible person. And the truth is, for me to, understand that, reputation, it means nothing when your character means everything, was something that was really hard for me to get like that understanding of. But once I understood that, my life kind of opened up into, a different spectrum. Because, being so worried on, these outside things and like, things that really did not matter at a certain point caused me a lot of issues and a lot of depression. I had issues. I had a lot of problems. I was so fucked up in the head and shit that, I let everything else affect me, right? And really the only thing that saved me from everything was not only, falling in love with, the mind and, like honestly, like the mystical things of the world and just understanding everything and God, it was the gym. The gym honestly saved my life. Coming from, a point where I wanted to kill myself. Like, truthfully, like, without the gym, I would not be here today. I would truly not be here today. I wouldn't be making this video. I wouldn't be the person I am. I just wouldn't be here. Because, in the darkest times, I had no one. There was no one there for me. It was just me and myself. And God was obviously there. But, when you're in that state of mind, you feel like there's just nothing. There's no hope. And that's why people lead to, suicide and stuff like that. And at a certain point, I had to just understand that the gym was the only thing that wasn't going to leave me. It was the only thing that was there for me in my darkest times. The weight never changed. The barbell stayed 45 pounds. Everything stayed the same. It was really just up to me whether I want to, what I want to happen in the gym, right? The gym never left me. It saved my life. It made me feel like I had purpose. When shit went bad with girls or things went bad with my friends or, anything that went bad in my life or my mind or, all these issues I dealt with, the gym was there for me every single time. It taught me things that, I would have never learned if I just, never went. I really believe that without the gym, there would be no me. There would have been a funeral. There would have been a lot of things. But the gym truly was the thing that saved me because, every time, shit went wrong with a girl or, things didn't work out in my life, whether it was, family, friends, or just, my mind and losing myself, the gym was the same every single time. There's a spot where I can clear my head. Every time things don't work out or every time I'm stressed about something, I go to the gym and I can just clear my head and everything just goes away. That's honestly the greatest gift. Not even gift, but greatest blessing I can ask for. Every time I look back on this, dark part of my life, I always think about how, the one thing that makes me feel like I have purpose or makes me feel seen is the gym, right? That's why I fell in love with it. A lot of times, people look for this validation in girls and other people, and the truth is no girl is going to validate you to where you feel seen. No girl is going to validate you to where you feel so loved. No girl or no one is going to, make you the person you are except the gym. And God, of course, God is always there, but the gym, you're alone and you have to be alone to find God. And that's really the truth. But no one is going to find this. You're never going to find the satisfaction, fulfillment that you're looking for anywhere but yourself, alone, and God in the gym. Those are the three things that you actually find this. No girl, no friend, no family member is ever going to make you feel this way. That's just the truth. When you feel you hit rock bottom, the only thing there is yourself, God, in the gym. Once again, a lot of times girls are just going to kick you down or keep you down. There's a lot of scarcity in this world of, things that you really want in your life. And a lot of times, like, if you're not mentally stable or you're dealing with shit or you got problems, like I did, not many people are going to be there for you. That's just the truth. On the other hand, you're not gonna want to talk about it to other people. You're just gonna keep trying to cover it up, every single time because you're so ashamed of it, like I did. I dealt with this. I dealt with depression and suicide for, 8 months of my life. From the summer to winter. I mean, it was a long battle that I really struggled with, and nobody knew about it. Not a single person knew about it until the very end of it. When I really finally hit that point where I like almost my breaking point, and I really needed to get help. And being so messed up in the head and being so just fucked up, it changed my actions. It changed who I was as a person. It made me do unspeakable things that I can't even think about because it just hurts. It literally like pains me so much to even think about these things. The only thing that really changed me and saved me was God in the gym. Going to the gym, I spent so much time alone that, I can only talk to God. I can only think about God. And then after that, every time, something didn't work out in my life, the gym was always there for me to pick me back up. Because obviously I've relapsed from time to time with my depression and, suicide. And the only thing that's there to pick me up was the gym every single time. And, once I stopped worrying about these outside, reputation, these outside things, and I really just focused on my character and myself, that's when I found a lot more joy in my life. And now I'm at the point where it's like, I understand everything. If I ever go through heartbreak again or, whenever I go through struggle again, I just know how to get through it. I know that the gym is there. I know I got myself. I know that any person that chooses to not have me in their life is losing value. Right? But it's not even so much like in a bad way, but it's like, it just doesn't work out sometimes, whether that's friends, a girl, whatever it is, you kind of just have to have yourself. You got to just keep your value and your standards up to par, no matter, how long it takes, or, you just got to be patient and wait. It's a big thing that I'm starting to understand is just patience is key. Whenever I've ever tried rushing, things into my life, such as girls, happiness, peace, muscle, anything, it just never works out. It always leads to me, being upset again. And once I really got a good understanding for the true meaning of everything, it's really been, it's been a much more positive time. But even just thinking back to, the depression, the darkness that I went through, it's kind of hard to speak about because it's so, I hate thinking about those times because you guys don't really understand. Like, for those who do understand, have been through this, you guys get it or are going through this. But the people that haven't gone through any of this or haven't experienced real depression, you guys don't really understand what it's like to, be depressed. Imagine just drowning every single day. That's literally what it feels like, and having to put on a smile and having to act happy all the time because you don't want other people to see how you're really doing. And a lot of times when you show your emotion, you're just sad. But when you're really depressed, it's so, easy to just act happy. But really, when you're alone, it's just, it's a hard battle. I mean, you guys really don't understand what it's like to be depressed and alone and have not a single person there for you. That's a lot of times when, like, I don't even know, like, really just like it saved my life. The gym, like, when there's no one there, the iron, the weight is always there for you. It's always there. It will never, do you dirty. It will never, not be loyal to you. It will never, lie to you. It's the realest shit in the world, besides God. It stays the same all the time, right? You decide whether it gets lighter or heavier. You decide it. You are really the true determiner of what the outcome is, right? That's just the truth. And really prefacing, just how the gym really can save your life too. I mean, like, I don't even enjoy talking about this because it's so, it's not enjoyable for me to talk about it because, like, I love to support mental health and everything, but even thinking back on the times that I went through and the things I experienced, it just, it hurts. It hurts really bad to be honest. I mean, my stomach, it feels like it's on fire right now, just because of the pain that I feel thinking about this and everything, you know, because, suicide's a real thing. Mental health is a real thing. I really think that we need to, support it more and spread more awareness because we don't really understand, like, it's real. You never know who's going through it. It could be your best friend that's going through it, and you just never know because they never show it, It could be your boyfriend, it could be your girlfriend. You really never know who's going through it, right? And you never want someone to take their own life because of it. And yeah, I just encourage anyone who's really struggling with mental health and is trying everything to get rid of it. I really encourage you to just go to the gym and give it a try. It really gives you a purpose that you've never imagined before. Me going to the gym, like, I control the outcomes. What I put in is what I get out. It's not like it's like the world and where, like, anything can happen, right? The gym, it's like if I go in 6 days a week, train my ass off every single day, do my cardio, I'm gonna get leaner, I'm gonna get bigger, I'm gonna get stronger. It's that simple. It's not like the world where, I can do everything right and then something bad still happens to me, right? It's not like that. It will never lie to you. It's always fair to you. And, it's something that will really change your life like it changed mine. It really saved me from the absolute darkest point of my life and the absolute rock bottom of my life. And yeah, I really just wanted to talk about that. I mean, and we go as, I do want to go back to the character over reputation. If you're someone who's done things in the past and you regret it and you truly believe that you've changed, like you're not lying to yourself at all, stop caring about what other people think of you. Stop caring about, the reputation you gave yourself. Think about your character. Who truly are you? Right, but do not lie to yourself because you do know the truth deep down. Who truly are you? Have you found who you are? Have you found your character? And once you found that, that's all that matters, because the people that come into your life are going to see that, and then the people that stay out of your life will always just think of you as, whatever they want to think of you as, but they don't even know you. People think certain things about me, but they don't even know me. They don't know my favorite food, my favorite show, my favorite movie. They don't know anything about me, my favorite color. They don't know me. It's that simple. And, I'm going to continue to let them judge me. I'm going to continue to let them, think things about me. But I know my true character. I know who I am as a person. And it's that simple.